Hello, 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 everybody. Today I'm going to talk about empaths in relationships. For whatever reason, every time I say that, I always think of Miss Piggy and the Muppets and Pigs in Space. I always would be like, empaths in relationships. So, as you can tell, I'm like a 70s child and like 80s teenager, hence the MTV shirt that I got at Target. And I was like, this is such a deal. And I was with one of my daughters and she was like, okay, but what's MTV? And I was like, oh, girl. And I'd like totally have to school her and be like, this is what you're missing out on. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you about empaths in relationships. All right. And so empaths, we're a tricky bunch. We have interesting relationships, and there's we're just exquisite beings, okay? And so, but we being in a relationship with us could be somewhat tricky, all right? And this is because we are such feelers and we absorb other people's energies just by being around them. So again, it could be kind of tricky for us, especially if we're not an empowered empath. And so like back in the day, like when I was not empowered and like had no idea why I was like this people pleasing victim magnet, like, codependent hot mess, quite honestly, I used to think I had a fear of commitment. And then one day it dawned on me, like, oh, because I was like, wait a second, I don't think it's a fear of commitment. What it was actually a fear of being engulfed. Okay. What does that mean? It is the fear of losing myself if I was in a relationship. All right. It's kind of like that chameleon effect of like you taking on, somebody else's like vibe or energy, and like all of a sudden like I don't know, I could only use myself as an example, which I was a total chameleon in my teen years and my 20s. And it was like, okay, I was the cheerleader to the football player. Then I was like the hippie to the deadhead. Do I still have those aspects of me? 100%, but they are not taking over who I am at my core soul. Okay. And so because we have this tendency to be engulfed or mesh with other people, what happens is like, where do I end in relationship? And this doesn't have to be in intimate relationships. This could be with friends, with coworkers, with family members, and so keep that in mind. And, if you're not in an intimate relationship, think about this in ways of like, how do you show up with other aspects in relationship with other people? And so empaths have a tendency to be codependent. And we have trouble seeing like, where do I end and you begin? Okay. And because of this, we can attract relationships that are enmeshed and unhealthy and have rescuing tendencies. Okay. Which really isn't that fun, because then we are burnt out and exhausted and, pretty much like a hot mess, and who the hell wants to be a hot mess, right? And so we also wear our hearts on our sleeves, right? Like open book, you're gonna know what kind of mood I'm in just by being around me, okay? And so like I said, we wear our hearts on our sleeves, and we have a tendency to get deeply wounded. No matter how much personal work I do on myself, I have to do all my healing work. I have to shield myself. And I still get fucking wounded, right? It's like being a 2 on the Enneagram and being an empath is just like, okay, it's like full on, right? And so, and because of these, we sometimes have trouble navigating relationships, all right? We also crave alone time, because when we are alone, we are recharging our empath battery, okay? And we totally want to be with the other person, 100% want to be with the other person, and then we don't. We're kind of like, I don't know, we're kind of like a cat in that way, where it's just like, I totally want to be with you, and then I don't want to be with you at all. So, because we need that solitude to recalibrate, okay? Because we're constantly picking up on the other person's energy field, all right? And so when you are an empowered empath, you know, we understand that need for being alone, as well as the pitfalls of being in a codependent relationship, right? But we have to work hard at it, okay? And this is where soul care comes in. This is where boundaries come in, you know, and, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine this weekend, and I had posted something a couple of weeks ago about discipline. And he said to me, he said, you know, that post really resonated with me, that discipline is a form of self-love, okay? We have to get up and do the things, right? I got up, I meditated, I'm going to exercise after this. I'm going to feed my soul in the way that I need to feed it, so that I could be of better service, one, to myself, to my loved ones, and to all of you out there. Okay, so it is a discipline. Self-love isn't something that you could just tell yourself affirmations about and just be like, yeah, I love myself. It's like daily shit that you need to do in order to grow and evolve. Okay, and so Judith Orloff is like I hate to say the word guru, because I feel like there's no gurus out there. Like, we are all gurus to we're our own guru. All of our answers are inside. That is part of what I do, is to teach you how to access the power within yourself. That being said, she's a fucking guru. She's like one of the experts. She's like the expert, in my opinion, in the field. She's a psychiatrist. She's a total empath. And if you haven't gotten any of her books and you're an empath, I'm looking on my bookshelf as I'm talking to you. It's the Empath Survival Guide. I read it a few years ago and it blew my mind, like blew it. I was just like, oh, is this dedicated to me? Like, oh, this is like totally my life. Like, are you reading my soul? And so get it if you have not gotten it already. It is great. And so she, I think I said that, she's a psychiatrist and an empath. And she, one of the many things that I love about her is that she is able to blend her clinical expertise with the spiritual stuff, right? Which is such a great framework and groundwork. And so she maintains that there are 3 types of relationships that are ideal for empaths. And I would love to hear from you if you're in a relationship, or even, again, thinking about your friends or family members. That, yes, super great book. It's amazing. I like gobbled it up like nobody's business. Okay, so the first is the rock. Okay, these are types of relationships that empaths, that are ideal for empaths. One is the rock, okay? This is a consistent, stable, grounded, and dependable human being, okay? Which is awesome for us feeling empaths, okay? The rock can handle our emotional intensity, but has trouble or a challenge expressing their own feelings. Okay. Rocks ground the empath. And that relationship could balance each other out. Read the Survival Guide. It's so crazy to have my... I 100% agree with you, Janice. I was like, oh, well, hello. There's actually a book about me. So it's amazing. The second type of relationship, I should say, is the intellectual. Okay, this is the deep thinker. All right, they are that analyzer and see the world through rational thought. They are super calm during conflict, okay, which is very challenging for the empath. But they have difficulty trusting their intuition and aren't very playful and emotional, okay? They make a good match for the empath because their intellect balances that emotional intensity of the empath. And then the third type is another empath. Okay, I don't think I've ever actually dated another empath. Maybe I have just once. I go for the grounding. All right, like Rob, my husband, is total intellectual, and he's a rock also, you know, and so it's just because his energy is so grounding. He's like my tree that I just get to hug, and I love it. But anyway, another empath is also a good match, okay? This could be amazing because they understand you on that deep emotional soul level, right? They're kind, they're supportive, they're compassionate, they're passionate, and totally get the need for space. Again, empowered empath. Disempowered empath, not so much, right? That being said, the tricky part is that the emotional intensity can be overwhelming, okay? Because you could easily be triggered by the other person, okay? And so I would love to know, like, if you're in an intimate relationship, what is that person, right? Like, is it the intellect, the rock, or the empath? Like I said, and mine is kind of like a hybrid blend, I'm saying. So, and look around at your friends and family. You know, like, I come from a family of empaths, and it was very tricky navigating it. And then even my friend groups, like one friend group in particular, they're all very rock-like, you know, which is fantastic because it grounds me, you know. And so think about your friend groups, think about your family, think about a partner if you have one. If you don't have one right now, think about past partners and start to, you know, maybe make a list of all the things that you admired in that partner, you know, and how it worked for you versus what didn't. You know, it's kind of like, I think they did like a list on Friends when like Ross made a list about Rachel or something. But I'm a big believer in like writing out like your intentions and like, this is what I want in a match. This is what, you know, and I got like super specific with mine at one point. I was like, has to appreciate the Grateful Dead. You don't have to love the Grateful Dead because I know that's super hard sometimes, but like you have to appreciate it. You gotta like sushi. This was like kind of, I was getting granular. Like I was like sense of humor, like intelligence, like caring, you know, I had all of those, you know, but then I was like, burr, burr, burr. And then eventually I met my husband and like, he loves sushi. He's all the top three. And then he also loves sushi. And, he doesn't love the Grateful Dead, but he appreciates them and he goes with me to the shows. Anyway, that is all I have for you today, my loving humans. I will see you on the flip side. And also, like, it's the beginning of the month. So let's set some intentions of what you want to focus on, what you want to create, whether it's personal or professional. And I would love to hear those too. And yes, you have to be specific, right? The universe loves, here's a word that's hard for me to say, specificity. You know what I'm talking about. All right. I love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you on the flip side. Mwah.